Welcome everyone. Today's video is going to be a 2-in-1 review video of the Major Craft Finetail Glass BFS stream rod. I know a lot of people have asked about these rods, and I have two different models. I got them earlier this summer, so I have quite a bit of time with them. I have the 4'6" version, and also the very short and very fun 3'8" version. So I will go over both of those, kind of my uses, also my thoughts on this, because it's a very inexpensive BFS rod, and I think it's definitely well worth the money. So if you want to see that, keep watching. Also, comment down below what BFS tackle that you're using for stream fishing. All right, so to start off with, I will start with the 4'6" model. This is the one that I use the most, just because it's more versatile for me. I can fish in a variety of different situations. It's an ultralight powered rod, but it's not super noodly. You'll see here, it's got some backbone to it. Like when I push through here, I mean, this is a fairly stout backbone, and this is where the ferrule is here. And when you see that bend in there, it's in an odd spot where that's just naturally where there's some backbone, but it does have a slight flat spot there, but like I said, it's where the backbone is, so it's actually not that bad of a taper. I know that right now Digitaka, they just got a stock of, like they weren't stocking these for a while, and they just got a stock of some spinning models, like 3'8" all the way up. I think it's 4'10" is like the longest one, I'm not sure. And then same thing for casting. So there's a wide variety of casting and spinning models. To me, the glass is pretty responsive. I don't know if it's S glass or E glass or a combination, whatever it is. I'd assume at the $145 to $150 price point, depending on what model you get, that it's probably not super high-end glass, but it is responsive. Like this right here, this is a Jackson Trout Tune. This is a floating minnow, and they do have a very aggressive action. I like to twitch them fast or twitch them super slow. But either way, even using heavier minnows too, I've used some like 6 gram, like the Jackson Trout Tune heavyweight. And this rod has handled it fine. Now with the 3'8" version, I didn't like it with really heavy lures. About 4.5 grams was about as high as I like to go with that shorter rod. But it does handle light lures well, both rods do. It's rated 1 to 8 grams. And the line rating is 2 to 6 pound. So I don't feel that 1 gram, what you can get down to 1 gram, especially with, I have the Roro AX22 spool in here. This is the magnesium alloy version. I'd say that 2 to 6 grams was like the sweet spot for this rod, which for a fiberglass rod, I like that range because I can take this one rod, especially if you're using braided line, which I'll get into in a little bit. You can take this one rod and you can go out and just say keep this in your vehicle, especially how it breaks down. You can fish very small streams. You go fish little tiny ponds or whatever you're going to do, and you'd be just fine. Now in this one, the 3'8" version, I don't like it for that type of fishing. I have a lot of very thick brush around where I live. If you can, I mean, you can kind of see a little bit. This rod was very fun for that. This is the shortest BFS rod that I've used. At 3'8", it was, I felt for casting, it was nice. Like say a rod like this, I could pitch a little bit, but you can only pitch so much. And like, there's tag elder that would be all over me too. And I can get little tiny like flip casts like right in front of me to the side, and I was able to control those fish still. It was a lot of fun. And mostly with this shorter rod I've been using monofilament with. This is the Verivis. This is their newer trout line that they have. This is in 4 pound. It kind of replaced the Bush Trail line, which is one of my favorites. There's a couple minor differences, but overall performance pretty much the same. And this is with the Aurora AX22 spool on here. But I really like this rod, and it handled, surprisingly, the backbone on the short rod. Like it's got a decent amount of backbone and a light tip for such a short rod. Usually the shorter rods, you're not going to get as much taper out of, which I was a little worried that this rod wouldn't have that much backbone, which it does have a very good blend of backbone and a nice soft tip that I can deliver lures like this Rapala CD1 here, or even a little bit bigger lures. I can still twitch up to about 4 grams, I'd say, was like my ideal like twitching. But after that, the rod did get bogged down slightly. It was doable, but I think if I was using braided line, I can get away with a little bit heavier lure on that. Something to consider as well is the grip size of this 3'8" version is like perfect. It's, when I palm it, it gets right to my, you can see like it doesn't interfere with my wrist at all. I can have full manipulation, and there's a slight angle to the handle. So it's straight all the way from the blank through the reel seat, and then there's a slight downward angle of that handle. I didn't know how that would be. I thought that would feel kind of awkward, but it does feel really nice, and that's something I might actually do for if I build future BFS rods. Same exact angle on the 4'6", just slightly longer handle. Again, it's not unusually long, it's not cumbersome or anything. I just felt that 3'8", I was able to just, almost like a, I don't know, like a lightsaber, I could just move that thing around to wherever I'd want to. The reel seat, it has a wood insert reel seat and dual lockdown metallic reel seat hood on there. So I've never had any issues with my reels not fitting, and they've held very secure in there. Metal trigger on there as well, which it is angled a little bit, but it's not uncomfortable at all. Usually I don't like these types of reel seats, but I think how that grip comes down, it just makes, and I palm it with all my fingers in the front end, it feels nice. Even if you have one or two fingers in the back, a lot of times when I'm doing short range casting, I won't palm the reel all the way because I'm going to be always in the casting motion. It's been comfortable the whole time. Sensitivity, I haven't had issues with sensitivity fishing small jigs. Granted, I'm not using these rods for panfish or in like lakes or deeper water, so I'm pretty short lined, and I haven't had issues with the hook set either. You just have to set the hook a little bit harder, especially I use these little tiny Varivis extra wide gap hooks sometimes for brook trout, and I will have to set the hook a little bit harder, not super hard, but just something to keep in mind, having that softer fiberglass rod. I'm fighting fish, which is something that a lot of people like to look for in these ultralight fiberglass rods. With either of these rods, especially this one was pretty fun. I feel that you still get that good versatile fun factor of, say you hook up with a 5-inch fish, whatever, you can still play the fish and have fun with it, especially if you're using monofilament line. But even on this little 3'8" model, I have had a couple big brook trout, and I was able to handle them even right next to the net. I was able to handle them perfectly, come down with the net, scoop them up, and still have enough cushion between the line and the rod that I'm not pulling out hooks, which that is a risk when you're using a very short rod, is you don't have as much length to have that deep of a taper to it because it has to cut off at some point. So to summarize this video, if you're looking for a fiberglass BFS rod from like a reputable company, Major Craft makes a lot of good bang for your buck performance fishing rods. I would definitely check out the Finetail Glass series. Digitaka has them for between $145 and $150 US dollars right now. And that price includes shipping. It depends on the model, of course, how long they are and such, which is a pretty killer deal for what you're getting, especially with the price of it seems like a lot of fishing rods are going up in price. For what you're getting, this is going to be one of those rods that if you're looking to start out, I mean, not like budget starting out, but like, you know, budget starting out up to like mid-range, it's worth it. Even to me, I find that I could still have these rods in my lineup, even with all the other trout rods that I have. So it's a piece of equipment that you're not going to outgrow. Just like I've said in a lot of my other BFS videos about reels, sometimes starting out super cheap can be effective, but sometimes it's worth just jumping up a little bit, especially if you know you're going to be into it. That way you're not going to outgrow your equipment. So if you want to see more BFS trout fishing, make sure you comment down below what sort of fishing that you want to see, and thanks for watching.